throughout the week is George Pickens. He signed his franchise tender with the Dallas Cowboys. It is a What's More Likely Friday on this program, as you know, as a frequent guest host of this show. I will ask you this question in a What's More Likely construct. What is more likely? George Pickens plays on the tender for the Cowboys or has signed it because he's going to be traded by the Cowboys? Tom Pelissero.
Post-draft trades are difficult, but as the Cowboys showed 1 year ago, not impossible. Mm-hmm. Well, let's start with why you sign the tender now at the end of April, or in this case, today's May 1st. For George Pickens, now you have eliminated the long shot possibility the Cowboys would pull the tender. It's rare, but it has happened in the past. By signing it, you have locked in. Your worst case scenario is you make $27.3 million for one season, and then they're either tagging you again in 2027 for like $33 million, or you hit the free agent market. Or, of course, obviously, you could also work out a contract with them in the meantime. The downside from some players' perspective would be, well, now, if you don't show up for minicamp or training camp, you're going to have to pay fines, you're going to, lose money. But I would point out George Pickens' agent, David Mulugheta, who, of course, is well known to the Cowboys, his history is that he doesn't have guys lose money. His players show up. How much they do sometimes varies from case to case. But for George Pickens, he was probably showing up rather than giving away any sizable chunks of money in training camp anyway. Even if the Cowboys now work out a trade, Pickens still has control over where he goes, because you would think if you're trading a player making that much money who's that important of a piece of the team, you'd want to work out a contract deal in advance. And if they can't work out a contract, it may well scuttle the trade. All of which is to say, Rich, I would say what's more likely at this point is George Pickens playing on the tender, because we know that the Cowboys have already said we're not going to do a long-term deal. We're not going to talk about it. He's going to play on the tender. He's a valuable piece of the team. And from everything that I have been told for several months, that's largely true. But there's certainly a possibility if someone offers the right package for George Pickens, which, remember, would have to involve some combination now of players and future picks because we're past the 2026 draft. It's hard to imagine, which is why I'd say where it's more likely he plays on the tender, but that is certainly not the preference for George Pickens. He, like most players, would prefer to get a deal. If that deal's not coming in Dallas, the preference would be to get a deal someplace else. But I don't anticipate George Pickens giving back money, sitting out, losing almost $2 million per game. One way or another, he's going to be playing football, I anticipate, in week one. And you'd have to say, under the current circumstances, the most likely place that would be is in Dallas.
And in terms of likelihood, it's most likely, okay, he'd have to ask for a trade for the Cowboys to give him permission to find another spot for a place that would pay him. Right. Well, I mean, you said technically, I know that. So what would the market be for George Pickens? I'm sorry to ask, TJ, but clearly if he wants to get paid and he wants a long-term deal and the Cowboys are like, no, or they're using some sort of a hardball tactic to get him to the table between now and June 15th to sign something he's not interested in signing, what would the market be for Pickens that he's probably kicking the tires on?
Well, if you go back 1 year ago, if we're talking the draft pick compensation, there was only one team that made an offer for George Pickens. The only team that made an offer, it was a one-suitor market. And that's why when people say, well, oh, man, look at the season Pickens is having. How could the Steelers send him for a third-round pick? Because they didn't have another offer. Because they didn't feel like with Aaron Rodgers coming in and DK Metcalf coming in that it would be a coexisting type of relationship in that receiver room. And so they took the best, which was the only offer they had, and sent him to Dallas. That's not to say, based on the season that Pickens just had and going to the Pro Bowl and putting up the numbers, he's always been a freakish type of player. But the reason you don't have a bigger market is a lot of the same reasons that George Pickens wasn't a first-round pick in the draft. Some of the same things you saw at Georgia were happening in Pittsburgh as well.
Well, hello, good people and Eagle fans. Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to say thank you for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Jobu Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. Hope everybody's having a great day. You know, Logan, I meant to respond. I did read your email, man. You love Mustang cars, man, and I'll reply to it. I've been rather busy since I got back from the draft, and yesterday going back home for my physical, and then getting back here. It's just been a little crazy for me. But before we get deep into rookie mini camp, as well as more about George Pickens, I got to say hello to the lovely ladies in the place. Lady Libra, double dipping on both channels. Appreciate you, Libra. We got the lovely and talented Holly Pierce, making fresh bread. There's Dallas Cowboy for life, Gilly. This is Jeff Lee. My name is Jeff. What's up, Jeff? How are you doing tonight? Logan Motorsports, like I said, I will respond to your email. I've just been a little bit busy. There's Dirty Nasty Sanchez. Who's he going to piss off tonight? Who's he going to piss off tonight? Holly Pierce, Lady Libra. Welcome, everybody. Hope everybody's having a great day. Clay Lewis in the house. How are you doing? It's been an interesting day, to say the least. I'll share with you later on what might be really good for our football game live streams. I'll tell you about that in just a minute here. So I'm trying to understand something here. Okay, I played that clip about George Pickens because the talking heads just don't want to seem to let George Pickens go. On the same day that we heard the NFL will not do any punishments for DK Metcalf literally punching a fan. Okay? Mr. Mojo 21, what's up? Chris Cowboys Daily, what's going on? D-Drain. I'm sorry. J-Drain. I wish we could go back to it was just like the person's name. James Snyder, how you doing? I miss my mom calling me. I miss her a lot. I miss calling my dad and talking to him about the Cowboys, man. I wish I could call my dad up and say, things are looking up, Dad. Things are really looking up on the Cowboys. They've done a lot of great things and stuff, and have a discussion on them instead of talking to him only about negative stuff. But I feel you there, James. I know exactly what you mean, man. I feel bad for you, and I'm sending you my prayers. So the same day that DK Metcalf, that they say, no problem whatsoever, with DK hitting a fan. A guy who's getting $32 million a year. No harm, no foul. Now, I ask you, what has George Pickens done anything in the scale of punching a fan? Anything. Yes, he checked out, but, remember we had Amari Cooper here? Amari Cooper was checking out when he was with the Raiders. Dirty Sanchez sent a gift membership. Oh, shit! To Room 4807. Shout out to Room 4807. That means this weekend on Sunday, you can join our live stream because Dirty Sanchez gave you an invite. So if you look at on Sunday, look at the community tab, the link will be there, and I hope you join us. Okay, so you've got DK Metcalf, of course, doing his thing. How many times have we seen Stephon Diggs show his ass? Did anybody talk about, he's a little crazy out there. He's got some issues and stuff like that. Do they talk about, they don't? How about when T.O. was around? T.O., Des Bryant. But now, here it is. The talking heads continue to constantly talk crap about, he's a cancer. He's a hothead. Has he punched anybody lately? Or ever? I don't think so. But every day he hasn't signed his franchise. I literally heard today, oh my God, George Pickens unfollowed the Dallas Cowboys on Instagram. What it turned out is he doesn't really do social media that much. He wasn't actually following the Dallas Cowboys until now. Everybody, can we just let it go? Let it go. Because now we're talking, Tom Pissarro comes out here. This is almost like an Adam Schefterism. Well, trading guys in the franchise tag at this time of year are very rare and are hard to do. Yeah, because here's the thing. Typically, you're trading a guy for picks. If we're trading for picks don't help us any this year. This is the problem that the Eagles have right now because trading A.J. Brown doesn't do anything to make their team better right now. Down the road, yes. But they're going to miss that big body. as much of it, let me put it out there. Has George Pickens been more of a distraction than A.J. Brown? I'm just asking for a friend. Sorry, my voice, my mouth is dry. It's real dry. Okay. Yes, James, we're going to get to that in just a second. But I wanted to deal with this and say they need to let this go about George Pickens, because George Pickens has said nothing negative. You've seen George Pickens hanging out with CeeDee Lamb and having a good time, looking happy as can be. Said nothing negative whatsoever about the Cowboys, about his contract, anything. Yet every day, every single day, we hear a new George Pickens thing. Oh, George Pickens, he could be traded. Oh, he signed the franchise tag so he can be traded. Oh, George Pickens, he's not going to play on the franchise tag. He's going to hold out. He's going to be a distraction. Oh, there goes the Cowboy. There's nothing. There's nothing. You're right, DC Gilly. A.J. Brown has been a major distraction, but they continue to go at it. All right, so the first news we had earlier today was Clab Down signed his $29.7 million, I believe it is, rookie contract. That means he is locked in with the Dallas Cowboys for 4 years with a fifth-year option, which is great. What's also even greater is everybody is already in the fold. Gina, Dallas Diva in the house. What's up, Gina? How are you doing tonight? Everybody is in the fold with the exception of Malachi Lawrence is the only one who has not gotten his rookie deal done yet. But they've been busy. Say what you want about the Dallas Cowboys in the past, and there's a lot to say. We've got Cowboys make the NFC Championship game, and George Pickens has a phenomenal season. What's the outcome with George Pickens in Dallas? Talking heads believe he's out after this season. Well, I'm going to ask you this. Shout out to I Can't Sleep. I can't sleep either, bro. I can't sleep because my wife looks so good laying next to me. I can't sleep. I appreciate the super chat getting you added to the kitty here. Hi, Pam. Pamela Savage. What's up, Pamela? Gina, the diva that is. What's up, Gina? How are you doing? Well, here's the thing. You could, here's where things get to be interesting, to say the least. I believe George Pickens gets to be, if the Cowboys were to get to the NFC Championship game, and George Pickens has a phenomenal year, and they don't make the Super Bowl, the Cowboys would be freaking idiots to let him go. But if they did let him go, at least they would get their compensation back, that third-round pick. Here's what I actually think is going on. If you ask me, okay, and I'm no expert, but I think I said a while ago the best thing for George Pickens to do would be sign the deal, say, I'm shaking it, boss. I'm shaking it. I'm shaking it, boss. I'm shaking. I need to get that clip. Cool Hand Luke. But to not cause any waves. Thomas Garrett in the house, what's up? Because the problem with him causing waves is everybody out here has been talking shit about him, about how bad he is. Oh, he could throw a tantrum. We're just they've been waiting. Okay, it's been a year. It's been a year, okay? The Cowboys lost more games than the Steelers, okay? He didn't lose it losing, right? He didn't get the new contract, get the franchise. He hasn't lost it now. Yes, he showed up late in Vegas, but he showed up in Vegas when he played. Everybody is waiting for him to do something crazy. Pamela Savage, what's up? But he's done nothing. Nothing. We've had other people out there doing more egregious things than, well, George Pickens hasn't done anything egregious this year. And they're not talking about them, only George Pickens. They're coming up with all these scenarios. Hell, you mean they couldn't trade DK Metcalf after he punched the fan? That's not a possibility? Is it? It's not? They can't do... Oh, okay. For some reason, they're talking about that and only that. But here's my thing is, George Pickens, if you are a solid citizen for this year and you play well, you put the Cowboys on blast. And it's not like they didn't do that with Dak, pay him after being franchise tagged. It wasn't like they didn't do it with DeMarcus Lawrence after that. You know, they will. But what I really believe is they said and did what they did to see how George Pickens reacts. To see, is he, because this is the problem with Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons, he went off about the contract. He's being a distraction. He's sleeping on literally the training table. Cowboys don't want that. They don't want that bad publicity like that. And George Pickens probably watching, like when I was a kid, I got to watch because I'm the youngest. My brothers and sisters make their mistakes and get in trouble. I saw that and was like, no, I'm not going to do that. Nope. That's going to lead to butt whipping. Nope, I'm not going to do that. Okay. I learned from their mistakes, and George Pickens, I believe, learned from watching Micah Parsons and how he handled the situation. So George Pickens is not going to be a distraction. There's no benefit whatsoever for it because it will only devalue him. So moving right along, I think it's now time to chill on the whole George Pickens thing. I did a video earlier and said it's time to let George Pickens go. And I guess that's clickbait, and maybe I should apologize for it, but I meant let it go from you talking heads talking about George Pickens. You know, it's going to be traded. He could be traded. He signed the tag. Yeah, he's going to show up for work, but he could be traded. Come on, man. Let it go. Let it freaking go. But today, after all of the rookies but Malachi Lawrence signing the rookie deal, it is rookie minicamp. Oh, shit! Oh, shit! Oh. And we have our new leader, Christian Parker. Look at me. I'm the captain now. So what I want to do right now on the show is get you to know all of our new pieces. Now, we've heard Christian Parker a couple of times talking, but that deep voice that he's got, man, I can see him taking control. And he got a little bit feisty when people said, you're just going to be running the Eagles defense. And he's like, hold up. Don't be calling no damn Eagles defense. We're not Eagles anymore. This is going to be the Dallas Cowboys defense. Let's go to the tape.
Your point was versatility in getting a guy like this.
Yeah, I mean, I think a guy like Caleb, you know, he's a natural football player. You know, he's one of those, you know, first picks in the schoolyard, you know what I mean? So he's going to have natural versatility, and just a matter of, you know, what he can handle mentally and how we fit everything together.
I know it's just day one of minicamp, but what have you seen from him now, just being in the building and getting him acclimated to what you guys are doing?
He's the same guy we had in the building on the 30 visit, same guy we saw on tape, you know, just an intentional person, consistent, really, you know, just flatline, you know what I mean? Not like in terms of not having energy, but he's just consistent in terms of his approach and everything he does.
Shawty said that he kind of has a gravitational pull to him a little bit around other people. Mm-hmm. What have you seen from him just interacting with other players and other guys here since he got here?
Yeah, I think he just naturally has that. He's naturally engaging, naturally just interacting with everybody. He kind of has that spirit about him. So I think it just comes natural to who he is.
How would have the two of you all kind of hit it off?
Shout out to Holly setting up the super chat. I mean, the gift.
How have you hit it off?
Yeah, hit it off pretty
Vinny.
well. You know, I think
Vinny, I hope you joined
his
our
30
live
visit coming in
stream.
here. He's very familiar with what we were going to do because
on Sunday as well.
He watched our tape from Philadelphia. You know, the past 2 years, Jim Knowles and Matt Guerrieri, their safeties coach, came up to visit us in Philly during the spring twice when I was there. So a lot of the stuff he was familiar with from the shell system and some of the things, they played a different style.
Shout out to Holly.
It was very similar. So talked about some of those things on this visit, talked about his tape, and it's been the same thing, you know, last night and today.
Christian, what did you see from Malachi at UCF that jumped off the film and then in your meetings with him that, you know, made you comfortable putting him in this whole defense?
Yeah, you know, we had him in the formal process at the Combine. I think you see just a natural rusher on tape. He has natural instincts. He could turn his toe at the top of the rush. He plays with power. He plays with urgent effort. You see him just running down quarterbacks, and that's one thing we talk about. The 3 quarterbacks in our division are all athletic, so anybody we deploy on the edge has to be able to run sideline to sideline with him, and he had that. We had him in the room. Very smart, very thorough, very just, detailed in everything that he talked about, from run, pass, how we studied our linemen, just the whole 9 yards. So had really good exposure to him in that process.
We're looking at Jayshon Barham during the draft process and your history and the defenses that you've learned under. How did you kind of see Barham as this chess piece that you could use as an inside linebacker?
Well, I think the best thing is you don't have to project it because you see it. At both Maryland and Michigan, he's playing in both spots. He's playing off the ball. He's playing on the edge. They're playing Ohio State. It's goal line. He's 3 yards behind the nose and just tracking the football. So you see those different traits. So you want to see him off the ball and kind of see how that goes from that transition before you put him anywhere else. You could take advantage of more versatility when he's on that second level than if he's on the edge. But he's certainly capable of playing both. We're gonna keep him at Mike right now and kind of see how that goes.
How have you seen that type of player succeed in past defenses that you've been a part of?
It's kind of similar to B.A.M. Browning was probably the most recent example. When he was at Ohio State, he played both spots. We drafted him in Denver. He was hurt when he came out. He ended up starting his rookie year at Mike and started for a couple games for us, and then he ended up moving to edge after that. But Jayshon has some similar traits to B.A.M. We just got to kind of bring him along and see how the brain works.
When you took that defensive coordinator job and you looked at the way the roster was on defense, how does it look now compared to then?
I think we've done a good job. I think the Joneses and Will and their staff over there, they've done a good job just assessing and evaluating talent. Bringing players to us. We're having great dialogue on what the schematic fits are, what we're looking for, what we expect those guys to do in different situations. If we have this, then maybe we don't have that, and kind of how to piece it all together. Because the defense is going to get formed about the personnel that we have. But their process has been very thorough in terms of just accumulating the talent.
Christian, what's your philosophy on the communicator for the defense? Does it need to be a linebacker? Can it be Caleb? Wearing the green dot, those kind of things. Who do you think is the candidate?
There'll be multiple options, and we'll kind of figure that out as we go. We don't play a game for a long time, so we got time for that.
A lot of conversation about you is about your history with Vic Fangio. How much is that a carryover? Do you have new things that you want to implement, or is it going to be a lot of similarities?
We'll see.
Jerry talked about how lucky they were to get Caleb Downs for him to fall as far as he did. What was just your perspective on draft night as you're watching the picks go in and you're like, hey, Caleb is still there, and knowing how much you guys liked him?
Yeah, I mean, you're just seeing the guys come off the board, and you're just seeing his name is still up there, and you're just hoping that we get in striking distance where you don't have to sacrifice everything to go get him. And I think we got to a certain spot we were comfortable with. Jerry made the call to go make it happen, and I'm glad we did.
What was your reaction after the pick went in?
I was pretty excited.
Will said that you were sending a lot.
You look happy as shit, man.
Caleb just randomly throughout those. What kind of like that?
I just wanted to give them little reminders. As you go through this process, we have the position meetings, and then we restack the board and everything. There's a lot of names.
Loyal Cowboy, welcome.
Special team. So
Marvin,
just
welcome.
kind of send them a couple reminders. Maybe you can schedule messages to get sent on the iPhone now. So you send it at night, get it sent at 8 a.m. the next morning. So when he's walking in the office, he kind of sees it and everything. So I'll say it worked out pretty well.
What's your vision for LT Overton on the defensive line? Where do you envision him playing, and what kind of role do you see him having?
Yeah, we see him as a defensive tackle. We know he can play on the edge some. That's what he did at Alabama. We've seen him play over tackles and tight ends and kind of play more vertical. So Marcus kind of has a good plan for him, whether it's the 3, the 4-eye, playing some 5. But we really see a versatile player that, he plays a violent style. He uses his hand well. He plays with a good power base. He's been in different alignments already, so it's going to be even more comfortable for him here.
Was your objective, let me get as much talent as I can, and we'll figure out who's the mic, who's the slot, and those kinds of things. In comparison to we're signing or we're drafting a true mic or a true slot guy.
Yeah. You just want as many good players as you can possibly find, and that's our job to figure it out from there.
That's why it was important for you to
as many good players as you can find
that you're acquiring, whether it's the draft or free agency.
Yeah, I think naturally, really good football players that are smart and play the right way and play with intensity, those are naturally going to be versatile players. Now, you don't need everybody to play versatile. Everybody doesn't have to play in multiple spots. You want guys to get good at one spot. If they can do multiple jobs and wear multiple hats, that is what it is. But I wouldn't say we were seeking to find as many players that could play, it's not like, other sports where you got to play both. You know what I'm saying? If we can have a guy just play safety and we have the best nickel, we're going to do that. If it's a guy that we want to play in one position in base, one position in nickel, we're going to do that too. So I think we just wanted as many good players as we could find.
What do you like about D. Winters?
I think number one, you feel his athleticism and you just feel his intensity to the football. You know, he's a really good space player. He can really evaporate space. You know, when that ball's thrown in check downs or he's, you know, running from, you know, C gap to C gap or A gap to C gap or whatever it might be, you just see this intensity and really good angles that he plays with, and he's violent, you know, and we encourage that. So, yeah, we think he's going to have a good transition, you know, kind of getting started working with him, and we're ready to see how it goes.
How does he compare to Overshown?
Shout out to Thomas Garrett.
Green dot is concerned. What you want those two linebackers to do?
We'll see. It's too early to tell.
Christian, I realize it's only an hour practice. It's rookie minicamp. Not everybody's out there. What was it like to be on the grass today for the first time and seeing some of the things that you want to see athletically from these guys?
It was good. I think anytime you get back on the practice field, like that's, you know, a safe haven in a lot of situations, you know what I'm saying? So seeing the coaches coach, you know, the position coaches and their detail and their emphasis on certain things, seeing the players moving around, you know, I think anytime you get out there and you hear that music blaring, you know, you're one step closer to really kind of, you know, getting to it, and that's what we do this for.
Christian, what have you learned about how to delegate throughout your coaching staff, what your vision is, what you want them to do, and how to apply that?
Yeah, I think, number one, I've had some really good examples to learn from, you know, with Mike Elko, Mike Pettin, Ejiro Evero, Vance Joseph, and Vic. They did that, so I saw that in that style. So really just what was comfortable for me, you know, meeting a lot together and kind of explaining the vision, getting that input. That's kind of having a collective shared vision on what we want this defense to be like, because it's our defense. You know, I don't want it to be called the Eagles defense or Vic's defense. Like, this is going to be ours. So we've been really intentional about going about that process, from language that we use and the workflow that we have and everything else. So it's been real fun.
Back on the draft process and the texting of photos and such, how much did you feel like your voice was heard by the Jones?
This is key.
By Will, as the process went along?
Yeah, I feel like it was a very collaborative approach, you know, from Will to the Joneses to Klein Kubiak to Shadi to the position coaches. I mean, there's a whole lot of dialogue. You're getting different perspectives. People are responsible for looking at certain things and gathering certain information. So I think as we kind of explained what we were looking for and how we were looking for it, I think it all came together and was real collaborative.
I love that. All right, so thoughts. Does Christian Parker seem like he is over his head? Or does he look like, I'm the captain now? I have to say, I love what you hear from him. He's calm, cool, collected, understanding what they're trying to do. We're trying to collect as many good players as possible, and then we'll figure it out who's going to be the green dot. The thing we have to worry about here is that in the Cowboys, I think they've done a really good job of getting talent. Shout out to Tay Cowboys in the house. What's up, Tay? Jesse's in the house. What's up, Jesse? How you feeling about your G-Man right now? I actually talked to a guy who was a G-Man and a genius, although you have to kind of take some of his genius points away because he is a Giants fan, but something that may be very, very good for our future live streams for games, and I'll tell you guys about that in a few minutes. He's awesome, and he knows ball. I feel good about him right now. I really do. And he's a guy who is on a mission to become a head coach. He seems confident. You know, don't call it Vic Fangio's defense or the Eagles' defense. This is our defense. I absolutely, positively love that. I mean, he is, you know, yeah, I worked under those guys, and I can understand that because the problem I had growing up, it was great being the youngest because, like I said, I could see all the mistakes my brothers and sisters made, but I was never me. It's like, oh, you're Greg's brother. You know, he played linebacker. You going to play linebacker? Oh, you're Tony's brother. Are you going to pole vault? You know, he pole vaulted and you know, and no, I'm not going to pole vault. No. Oh, Rondo. Hey, it's Rondo's brother. Are you going to run? No. I'm Mark. Okay? I'm going to play offensive line. And I'm going to throw shot put and discus because none of my other brothers and sisters did that. So that's what I'm going to do. Okay? Stop calling me a Rondo's brother. Stop calling me, you know, Tony's brother. I am Mark. And I can understand Christian Parker. I am no longer with the Eagles. I got that stench off of me. And speaking of Eagles, other than Logan Motorsport, what happened to all the Eagles? Remember how they used to always come here where we couldn't get a word in edgewise? Philly D. Oh, Philly D's back. Okay, Philly D. Philly D and Mustang Motorsports. Shout out to Mustang. As soon as something happens, hey, what's going on, Derek? What's up, Sugar Daddy? Sugar Daddy in the house. What's up? He didn't call it Eagles defense because when they fail, we know it's the Dallas defense. Oh, oh, Clint. Oh, you're so funny. There you go. I knew there had to be an Eagle fan somewhere. They're like cockroaches, man. You can't get rid of them no matter what you spray. Bry Guy in high. What's up? Philly D 1971. What's up, bro? I feel really good that the Cowboys seemingly have got to work. Our big problem is with D. Winters, who, let's face it, is our most experienced linebacker right now. Overshone, who's got David Mulligetta for an agent. I'm going to say for everybody's like, oh, my God, he's got David Mulligetta. We're screwed. I'm not sure that he's done anything yet to deserve talk about a new contract for next year. We don't know what we have. We've seen flashes, but we've also seen a lot of injuries with them. So, do your play on the field, and then we'll deal with the contract after that. Let's see 17 games on the season and 120 tackles and say 3 sacks, and then we'll worry about David Mulligetta. But right now, there's nothing to worry about until he proves it on the field. But D. Winters has had the green dot on very few occasions. So technically, we don't have a guy who's had experience calling out defense. Now, here's where the problem is going to be for the Cowboys. Is everybody on the defense is new. We have very few people that are coming back from last year other than our defensive line, basically. And you now have all new coaches. You've got a different defensive system. You've brought players from all over the place. You're depending on some rookies. And you're going to have to take all of these guys and make a defense. It may take some time for this defense to really catch its stride. So we have to understand that. Now, we know what our defense was like last year. So we cannot kind of understand how bad it can be. Even with new coaches, even with all these new players, I don't think it will be that bad. It's starting out. I honestly don't think that we can possibly be that bad with the talent that we have right now. Now, some people, here's where what we need to do for ESPN is say for entertainment purposes only. We need to put a warning on it like cigarettes because it's not based in reality. It's not based in fact. The shit that Adam Schefter gets away with, how is it you still have a job when you were literally making shit up and putting it out there like it's fact? ESPN has turned into the National Enquirer. Well, George Pickens wants a long-term deal, and he wants to get traded. Adam, where did you get that from? Did George Pickens call you and say, "Hey, Adam, let me give you a scoop here. I want a long-term deal, and if I don't get it, I want to be traded." Did that happen? No. Did the Cowboys call you and say, "Hey, Adam, listen. George Pickens' agent has called and said he wants a long-term deal or he wants to be traded." Did that happen? No, I haven't talked to anybody from the Cowboys or his agent. So Adam, where did you get the story from? Oh, I pulled it out my ass. And everybody runs with it. Per Adam Schefter, and everybody is going through and saying, per Adam Schefter is reporting that George Pickens, and then everybody decides, okay, well, George Pickens wants to have a new contract or he's going to hold out and demand a trade. Everybody starts running with it. And of course us, after having the tragedy that turned into actually a good thing. What's funny about life is sometimes something tragic happens to you. And at the time you were literally living through hell. But when you look back at it, it ends up being the best thing that could happen. Case in point, I know this isn't about football, but this is life. Case in point, I was married. Had Michael, was 5 years old. No, 4 years old. Michaela was 2 years old. I got a flesh-eating bacteria. Let me see if I can get this knee up here. Okay. See the scar? Right there. That's my scar of honor. I got a flesh-eating bacteria in this knee between Christmas and New Year. Between Wednesday and Saturday, my knee swelled up the size of a basketball and was cherry red and hot to the touch. My brother carried me down the steps, put me in the car, took me to a hospital. The hospital I went to sent me to another hospital without even signing a piece of paper. Immediately put me in an ambulance, 30 minutes away. I went to a hospital and greeted at the door with must have been 20 people, including them taking a needle while I'm being rolled down the hallway in my knee. I'm getting jabbed in the knee while I'm being rolled down there. I had 3 knee operations in a week and was on Rocephin IV antibiotics for 2 months. Had to learn how to walk. And I'm going to tell you, that thing was the best thing that happened to me. And you're like, the fuck? I lost my job because they looked and they're like, well, you can't walk, dude. We got to move on. My marriage, first marriage, crumbled. And I ended up having a 5-year-old and a 4-year-old to raise. Their mother would take them every other weekend. Other than that, it was me taking care of my kids. Unemployed, learning how to walk. But I tell you what, looking back now, I started my company, The Wood Boar. I got to raise my kids and really and truly know them and was blessed. And eventually found Tracy again from college. I'm not sure, had I not gotten that flesh-eating bacteria going through that I'd be right where I am now. So that's how things happen. So when you go through shit, sometimes you don't realize that it's the best thing that happens because it changes you. And we have been through shit as a Dallas Cowboy fan over and over again. And I know it's hard to believe, but if I look at this season right now, this offseason, how the Cowboys are going about business, doing actual substance as opposed to sizzle. George Pickens is signed. They're not going to trade him now, the only way they would trade George Pickens, it would end up being a positive. If it came to be that, hey, the Raiders said, hey, we'll trade you Max Crosby and a second for George Pickens. Okay. I could see the Cowboys maybe entertaining that one. But short of something like that, the Cowboys aren't trading George Pickens because that's going to take one of your strengths and make it weaker. The Cowboys are trying to build something. and they methodically have gone through the process of trying to get as many good players. Thank you, Brad Guy. I appreciate that. Trying to get as many good players as they can on this roster. And the best thing about all of it, knowing that we have new coaches and new players, is they've gotten this stuff done early. We've got everybody here now, because what's missed by so many people, and we're going to go to some of the interviews here in a second, is football, there's so few practices. So few practices. Back in the day, like when I was playing football in high school, hell, we had more practices in 1 week in high school than they do all training camp. I remember 2012 when we went to training camp. They had a morning practice and then they had afternoon practice. You got twofers when you were out there. Now, you can't practice more than 3 days in a row in pads. You got to have a day off. So it's important to be there for OTAs because they start the installing of the game plans right then and there. So you start getting the basis of it. You're not hitting and stuff. You don't really hit until the games. But you're understanding, the film work, the footwork, you're understanding where I'm supposed to be, and you're starting all that. If you do like the Cowboys normally do, where they're still building the roster after training camp, there's no cohesion. Now, the Cowboys will tweak this. Maybe they'll still make a move, try and get a green dot linebacker. But for the most part, we've got this team here of young studs that are here to learn and play football. All right, let's check out some of our players. Let's get to Caleb Downs and Malachi Lawrence. Are you ready? Check out our new players.
Is there any chance that you're going to wear number 18 this year?
Well, we'll see.
We're going to see what happens. That's the only thing I'm going to say about that.
First thing, just in the
Jason Garrett 2.0.
Yeah, I felt like it went well. Just learning the system, being able to be fully immersed in it. I feel like it was a good first day and looking forward to doing more.
You and Christian obviously talked at the 30 visit and throughout the process, but being able to finally work with him one-on-one on the field during that last bit, what do you learn in those kinds of settings?
I feel like that's when you learn fully what the coach means to be able to get hands-on and be able to do the drill with you. I feel like that's a real positive for sure.
You've done onboarding from one big program to another before. Do you have a process that you go through, or how do you go about it?
Yeah, the biggest thing is just learning the defense, making everything as even as possible. Some people have been here for years before and they know the defense, even not necessarily this team, and my teams prior to. But this team has a new D coordinator, so really just learning the defense and giving yourself the best shot to play fast.
How long do you think it'll take you to get acclimated to not just the football side, but moving somewhere different?
We'll see about the housing and everything, living-wise, but I'm just looking forward to playing ball. That's the biggest thing.
He's a hitter. He's a hitter, man.
I got it the first day I got here Friday. Friday.
So from that point on, what was your process? How did you start to digest it and kind of get ready for it?
Yeah, just watching some of the old games that he coached with the Eagles, watching their defense, and then just looking at the install that they gave me.
I want to talk about the speed of practice, the difference between college and pro. You see a difference? I know minicamp was about learning, going from drill to drill. Is there a difference in the speed of practice, or is it still
I feel like Coach Day and the guys at O State do a really good job of that, making everything transfer really well. So I felt prepared for everything and just had to learn the drills, and going to continue to learn as we go.
The behind-the-scenes video you guys had showed that you and Matt Patricia were talking about, hey, Eagles defense, right when the trade happened with the Cowboys. How many defenses did you prepare for in terms of the top 11, top 12 picks to potentially go for?
I wouldn't say. I'd probably say like 5 or 6 of them. I would guess. We would just watch a different team every day, pretty much.
Yeah, and with the Eagles system, with the Christian Parker system, what stuck out to you in terms of the pre-draft process, and I guess what made you potentially excited to play in that system?
Yeah, very multiple. Able to play a lot of different fronts and coverages, and then make it marry together, which is the most important thing.
The process of learning a new playbook. What goes into that for you? How do you approach it, and how do you digest new concepts and things like that?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I played in 3 different defenses over my 3 years of college, and I feel like I have a bank of knowledge to call on. So just making things same as, and the biggest thing is just learning the terminology that different teams use. So that's the biggest thing for me.
What has this last week been like for you? Not only getting the playbook, but getting ready to move down here and starting to suit you up?
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited. I feel blessed to be here and highly favored with the opportunity to play football at a high level and live in a city like Dallas.
How quick do you want to get some of that stuff settled and just know where you're going to live and what you're going to do?
Fast as possible. Fast as possible.
How do you keep from not getting overwhelmed with everything? You sign the contract, new city, it's talking about the play becoming kind of like, whoa.
I mean, just rely on the people that are there for you. I feel like for me, I have a good people that are in my corner, and try to rely on them and make sure that I'm doing everything on the front end in terms of playing football, so I can take care of everything else on the back end.
How are you and Coach Parker hitting it off? He's a little bit younger. Do you call him Coach Parker? Do you call him Christian? How's that relationship developing?
I think we're going to have to do.
Speaking to him directly, just call him Coach.
I think we're going to have to do
Parker,
another tailgate there.
Everybody here just calls him CP. So
Malik Neighbors called you a fave.
I just hope it's not like Christmas or the last game of the year.
Why do you think opposing players make that assessment of you? I mean, he's been in the league for 2 years and he's still.
Yeah, I mean, I played against him my freshman year when he was at LSU. I was at Alabama. I played well that game, so I guess he was basing it off of that. But I mean, I appreciate it. But at the end of the day, we're gonna have to play him in the season. So.
What's the biggest thing that I guess keeps you hungry? That
Philadelphia is back. Oh shit!
Like what motivates you the most right now?
I mean, the goal wasn't just to get drafted. So I mean, there's nothing to be settled on really.
How have you bonded with the other rookies in this class?
It's been great. I mean, we're all on the same point right now. We're all on the same playing field. So I feel like it's also competitive, but it's everybody wants to see everybody win.
You obviously weren't here last year, but do you feel that pressure of just how bad the defense was last year and what the expectations are going into this?
How are you going to ask him?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I only really watched the Colts play. I was watching my brother play every week, so I wasn't really watching a lot of other teams play, honestly, unless they played the Colts because my brother was on the team. So, not really. I mean, I'm just doing what I can do. That's really all I'm focusing on is doing my part right now, and we'll see where it goes from there.
Thank you.
Friday to now, just getting everything situated, getting the playbook, just walk us through this last week.
Right, it's been fun. Just getting to learn a new defense, new scheme, kind of. Now I'm transitioning kind of to more of an outside linebacker position than defensive end that I was at UCF, kind of in a 4-2-5. So just getting those, just learning techniques. Really, it's been really technique based with Coach.
Walk me through those techniques and what's different. Is it more stand-up role than rather hand in the dirt? Just walk me through what that process is.
Right. Yeah, it's a more stand-up role as of right now, what we're doing. And just the techniques, so like just some run techniques like shrugs, arm overs, and just working on staying on a line so that I have the same angle and pass that I do in run.
How quick do you want to find a place to live and get everything done on that end?
Right. I don't know yet. Pretty quick, though, for sure.
Have you settled in yet? Does it hit you that I'm a pro now? They're paying me to do this.
Right.
Present to them going to college and playing football.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
college
it has kind of like,
too.
because like in college too, you're kind of getting paid to play football, so you kind of have to be a pro as well. So I was kind of trying to start being a pro early in college. So I say it's helped.
What's it like to do football stuff as opposed to, I don't know the last time that was for you.
Right.
Because, you're getting ready for the combine and doing all non-football stuff.
Right. Doing football stuff is fun. Like, combine stuff, it's fun, but I like just showing, it's kind of hard to explain because football is really different. Like, you can't train for football. You just have to go out there and do it.
But even now you can't, I mean, it's not like you're allowed to hit people and stuff. There's so many rules. So how do you go about making a strong impression when a guy who's known for his physicalness, you can't show that part yet?
Right. Just following like the little things. So like when coach is teaching a certain technique, just actually doing that technique, even if it's a walkthrough tempo, because just trying to perfect and refine those things that you need to work on to make you a better player.
Did you do a lot of stand-up stuff in college?
Yes.
Okay, so this is kind of natural for you to play stand-up.
Yes, sir.
At what point in college did you say, I got a chance to to do this professionally?
Right, I'll probably say in 2023, my redshirt junior year, I was kind of like a DPR role coming off the bench, but I had like 7.5 sacks that year on like 180 pass rush reps. So like just kind of going back to the end of the year, just like reflecting, I was like, I'm gonna have something to me.
You talk to your position coach or your coordinator about, hey, I know I could do this. So
I mean, they told me really. They were just telling me like, you got this. It's just I have to believe in myself, which it came at the end of the year.
Is there anybody you've had in your game after?
I like watching Chandler Jones.
Okay.
Yeah, I like watching his game, how he uses his length, his bend. He has different moves. He just uses his strengths very well.
I know you had a chance to meet Caleb Downs, obviously, the day after the draft, but what's it been like getting to work with him, getting to know him just so far, even though it's only been a week?
Right. He's been pretty cool. Like, he's a great guy, I can already tell. His faith is strong, and I love that about him. He's a great person, like I said. Just talking to him, chopping it up. We've been laughing.
Son of John, I hope everything's going okay for you.
What did you know about him going into the draft? Obviously, Alabama, Ohio State, All-American guy. What did you know about him?
Yeah, like what you said, just Ohio State, Alabama, All-American guy. Like, kind of hard to not hear Caleb Downs' name, especially like when they won the championship and stuff like that. So yeah, I knew that he was a great safety, great player.
After that year that you had, I think you said 2023, how much did schools come after you and say, you need to transfer, you need to come up here? Did that happen a lot for you?
Right. I mean, yeah, it happened, but I wasn't really answering the phone, so like I don't know how much of that happened, but I know I was getting phone calls.
Did family get calls and say, hey, somebody from X school called me? And
Nah, yeah, they didn't. Kind of like some more like people more involved with football in the college.
You're obviously very athletic, but how much more potential do you see kind of moving forward?
Right, a whole bunch. Like I don't feel like I've reached my full potential, especially just learning from different coaches. Like they all have different techniques, different styles, and just learning them, and also just taking my game and evolving it with Coach B.T. Jordan. Like he was at the Broncos last year, and I believe they broke the sack record for the NFL. So just knowing that I get to work with a guy like him, it's going to be good.
You had a 1.5 10-yard slow, which is very, very fast. How much do you think that opens the door to more potential, is kind of unlocking that kind of speed on the first step that you have?
Right. True. It just gets the tackle like thinking like, oh, he can obviously beat me with speed, and then it sets up power. So then I can surprise him with like a long arm, a 2-to-1, something like that.
What's the one thing that you would want to?
All right, we're going to leave that right there. So there is a taste of our new defensive coordinator, Christian Parker, who is the captain now. Pamela Savage, yeah, you know, the last couple of years, the Cowboys-Washington game, well, 2 years ago, it was like the weekend, 2 weeks away from the Eagle game, and we went to the Eagles game in Dallas, and it was like, it was just too close, because then I think Thanksgiving was like the next week. It was just too much to try and do, especially after they broke my heart. Oh, God, that was ugly. And then last year it was on Christmas. And it's like, Christmas? Why are we going to be playing on Christmas? I can't tailgate on Christmas. I got to be with the family. So hopefully they don't screw us over on the game where it's the last game of the season. It's going to be cold as hell and things, or that it's on Christmas. I really do want to get back to tailgating and have a good time. So I was talking to this gentleman, and this may be, it's to think that they're able to actually figure out how to do this is crazy. If we remember, I tell you what, let me go to this clip and see. Let me find the clip. Okay, let's take this case in point. Now, I tell you what. Well, if Ferguson's, if his was an offensive pass interference, that was offensive pass interference.
Let's go in this right now.
Oh shit! Oh my God! Interception! Are you shitting me?
Don't say it. The 17 hurts.
What happened?
Gonna keep it.
Oh my God!
I'm taking my headset off because I know it.
I don't know.
Interception! What? The Eagles lost. Jalen Hurts. Oh my God!
That's the ball game.
Oh my God! They lost. And Jalen Hurts interception.
Oh my God!
Oh my God! Philly, look at you, Philly.
Oh my God!
Oh my God! No, I can't believe this. Oh my God!
Hey,
keep
Tommy,
hope
you said the game was over with. Thomas.
Keep hope alive.
We had this
3 losses in a row for you, Eagles. was tipped up.
I said Hurts had one more in there. I said he had one
Bad
more.
throw. All right, so Son of John, all is getting better. It's going to get better. Word of advice to all: get your colonoscopy with no delay. I 100% agree with you on that. Fortunately, I will survive, but I had to go through chemo. If I waited any longer, then survival would have been low. That was the case with my brother. He got his just in time, in which case it got me to get mine just in time. When I got my first colonoscopy, I had 7 polyps, 2 of which were the size of 2 centimeters, which is where they turn cancerous. So definitely sending prayers to you on that one. So if you were listening to that, you know how sometimes we're doing the stream, I'm ahead of people or I'm behind people, and you get somebody in the chat who's sitting there saying what happened, and I look at it, it's like, oh, shit, there we go. There is a company out here with some mathematical algorithm geniuses and stuff, and they've come up with this program that will sync up my stream with the game exactly. But wait, there's more. What it will do is it will sync you guys' comments up with the game. I don't know how they figure this shit out, but, you know, like let's say Dak throws a touchdown pass and it's already happened on your stream and you're posting in the comments the spoiler, touchdown Dak Prescott to CeeDee Lamb because you want to spoil it. I won't see that comment until it actually happens. So the spoilers for everybody won't happen. You won't be spoiled on the stream. And it will have a live ticker of the play-by-plays going on. What it'll also do, this is crazy. I met with the CEO about this. It'll even send me like so it'll be able to do like shorts. So if I'm sitting there, he's running, bumbling, stumbling, he could go all the way to the end zone. It will have the highlight playing, you know, on the bottom as I'm doing the broadcast. Now, I haven't actually tried that yet. We're going to be doing a practice one with the baseball game to see how it actually works and stuff. But that gets rid of the whole spoiler effect of, you know, you get in there, it's like, man, I don't want to know, you know, ahead of time. And this will be game changing, literally game changing. So I'm looking forward to that for this season and working with them. I'm not going to give the name out just yet because we're still working on it. And they're working with YouTube as far as getting this whole thing done. I think what will happen is this technology, once they really get it going and working, that'll be YouTube will say, okay, we're going to buy your company. We're just going to make this a feature of YouTube. So I think that will be great, and it'll be a better experience for everybody. We'll have a true live ticker instead of me popping up in the corner up here, the NFL.com's thing, which could be behind or ahead or whatever. It will all be synced together. So I'm looking forward to that. We're going to definitely try and do some more fun things this year. I had such a good time at the draft with Game Time and Prime Time, and even with Momo. Momo, who is doing all of these AI videos, basically slamming me, the Cowboys, and all that. Momo, you got to live in the real world, bro. The Cowboys are going to sweep that ass twice. So with that being said, we're going to get ready to get our ass up out of here. And as always, I appreciate you guys being here, being part of the show. And I got to get out of here because I got to turn out the lights because this party's over.
Turn out the lights, the party's over. They say that all good things must end. Call it a night. The party's over. And tomorrow and next year starts the same old